next reign, the current fight against corruption, which is ongoing with this present administration, what are the issues bedeviling the apex anti-graft agency in Nigeria, talking about the EFCC? Plus, what are the solutions, to some of these issues? Well, we have Ibadan on standby. Also, we do have a guest here in our Lagos studios. He is a regular on the show, very vocal, very articulate, a social commentator, Mr. Sola Omolayo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you indeed for coming to the program today.
Thank you.
All right, we're looking at the fight against corruption. We all know that this present administration has taken this as, a very important issue. And with everything they're doing, the campaign against corruption is always at the front burner. Let's start from the standpoint of evaluation. This is almost 3 years of this administration, and they've always been talking about this fight against corruption. Let's evaluate the fight so far. How successful would you say that we've been in this fight against corruption from your perspective?
Well, I believe the organization has been doing what they felt is within their capacity to operate with. There's nothing new that the EFCC are doing now that I would say is a new dawn in the corruption fight. It's just that Nigerians and we, for those who are on the social media and those who want to choose to celebrate what they choose to celebrate, will be saying that we are fighting corruption. This is the first time we've been fighting corruption. Every government at a point in time has always been coming with that theory of fighting corruption. If we go back a little bit, it now depends on which fight. Is it of self? Is it of victimization? Is it to the genuineness or the genuinity of the fight to promote Nigeria, to develop Nigeria, to correct the wrong so that the oncoming one will learn from it. There's nothing new about fighting corruption. If you skip back, you will understand that at a time, it is the cause of fighting corruption that led the late head of state in person of late General Ramahat Mohammed, almost sacked over 10,000 civil servants, all in the bid of streamlining the cost of government expenses at that time. Yeah. So there is never a time they've not been fighting this.
But don't you think that we are fighting corruption?
Excuse me. All right. Excuse me. That's why I say if we're on the chart of fighting corruption, we should not try to take side. We should the word evaluation, looking at the past, the present, and beginning to imagine what the future will look like. Yeah. What is it? What is that new? In the days of late General Sani Abacha, it was also trading towards that path when they formed the Failed Bank Tribunal. The Failed Bank Tribunal was also a channel of fighting corruption by naming all of these generation bank that came on board and took away a lot of human effort away from their coffers in the name of, their names, because some of them are in the same politics today. The generation bank at that time, they are in politics today. But at that time, we know that some of the bank managers, bank directors were locked up in Ikoyi. And what happened afterward? Nothing. Okay, let's even bring it down to the issue of the EFCC.
Okay. When
Obasanjo came on board, by Obasanjo and the legislative power, the EFCC was formed. And there is nothing new. When the likes of Obasanjo were fighting some of these individuals, what do we say? We say he is victimizing his own people, those who are not on his side. It is nothing that would be one of the first time when an IG was harassed,
humiliated in that way.
Harassed, intimidated, and even by his own men who understand the rules of the game in person of Ribadu at that time. Haven't they been fighting corruption? What happened afterward? What of the guy at the seat of power then, in person of Salisu Buhari? How did they get in? Is it not fighting corruption that lead to the fact that what he was having is not suitable for him to hold the seat of the Speaker of the House at that time. What happened? They've been fighting corruption. What of the governor that ran away, disguised like a woman and escaped from London to Nigeria? He's not part of the fight at that time. Yeah. But the question is, after what? Well, you should not forget, when this present president was the head of state in 1984-83, a lot of politicians were axed. Some of them were in prison. Some of them, their property was taken away from them. But what happened is that not a fight towards corruption at that time? These guys will always change the method. Not until when Nigerians, you and I, begin to celebrate criminals, begin to celebrate criminals in politics. You find somebody, because he has just been nominated or elected as a councillor, you started clapping your hand. What kind of orire will such a person do in 4 years? And when an EFCC come to investigate such a person, it's either you say they are victimizing him or something is wrong. Who introduces the crime? Is it not Nigeria? Who is telling a councillor what is going to be his salary? Who is celebrating a chairman of 4 years? You are here, you've been working for how many years? Why are they not celebrating you? Are you not doing the same stuff? Have you been able to build a mansion? Nobody even cares even if you are coming to work. But Nigerians are the ones celebrating these criminals. I can't imagine that the councillor in the next 1 year will be driving a car on that street. He needs to be beaten. That is the beginning. The corruption fight is not for the EFCC alone. It's a mindset of the individual Nigeria. Okay. I don't want to expect a chairman of a local government in the next 2 years getting to drive a Prado. Where is he going to get the money? Okay. So the issue goes beyond EFCC now. The issue goes beyond the security agent. The issue is about Nigerians and Nigeria.
Okay, I do understand you perfectly, Mr. Omolayo, saying that Nigerians need a reorientation and a change in mindset. But then don't you think that the government also has a role to play in this fight against corruption? Because like you rightly pointed out, it is a systemic issue. It has eaten deeply into the fabric, of the society called Nigeria. And I do think that it is worth at least committing some level of effort into wiping it out. Otherwise, we're going to get into more trouble, as it were. But then, again, it is sincerity on the part of the government which remains, questionable in all of this. What moves or move would the federal government actually make that would assure people like yourself, who are always in the public eye, that the government has genuineness of purpose?
It will start from the leaders. The leaders and the leader. The leader, the mindset of an individual interest to fight a cause. Unfortunately, we have a leader that ought to have started another journey of trust, of hope, of a vision that Nigeria might want to write. But somehow, somewhere, I always believe in the spirit world, because nothing goes on earth without manifesting in the spirit world. I believe Nigerians were so carried away by celebrating the person of Buhari to a point of a teen God in that clan. And God is a jealous God. The man Buhari is a good man. The man Buhari can lead aright. But how do we manipulate his person? We turn ourselves away from the same God we call and put all our hope on the man Buhari. Today, we now turn to God to heal him. Instead of us to have asked questions within us that, God, can you help us save this man? Do you think it's Falling sick, yes, the man is old, agreed. You say he's old, okay, he's old. But don't you think there are forces from every crony that is saying, you'll be the only one, Abi. We shall turn you to Saul. And if you look at, Saul was carried away by encomium. Suddenly, just one step of his life destroy his royalty.
Okay, this is taking a spiritual angle now. Let's go to Ibadan for a bit. We have on standby Barrister Wale Akinremi, who is Chairman, Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, University of Ibadan. Good morning, Barrister Akinremi. Thank you for joining us on the program this morning. As you are aware, we're looking at EFCC, the fight against corruption, and other matters arising. Now, from your angle, let's take a look at EFCC as an anti-graft agency. Do you think that agency, first of all, from inception, do you think we got it right? And also the mode of operation of EFCC over time, and of course, more vivid in this current administration, do you think they're actually acting properly, especially as guided by the Constitution or the Act that actually formed that agency?
Good morning, Lagos. Thank you. EFCC as an anti-graft agency set up by the EFCC Act, I think is not doing badly and has been doing very well from inception. And, as stated by the first speaker, the challenge has always been the issue of what exactly is our intention, what do we stand to achieve with whatever we are setting up in Nigeria. The problem has never been the enabling laws in this country. And you will see that during the time of Ribadu, he did his he played his own role, and even if people will see that there was political victimizations and all that, that they were picking political opponents, but the argument has always been people that were picked, you understand, were they suspects or not? And the fact that were many of them, what was the percentage of those that were able to actually clear themselves? And the truth that we know is the fact that people see public position in this country as a way of enriching yourself and your cronies. So we do know quite well that these people that were being prosecuted then couldn't well exonerate themselves. So we will not say that the EFCC Act itself is not properly crafted, or that the operations weren't okay. But the issue has always been the human angle and the Nigerian factor. We cannot shy away from the fact that whatever we do in this country, there's always the Nigerian factor. Immediately, Nuhu Ribadu then, was not fit into the next political climate. He was, subjected to a lot of harassment and all that. It's not that one is clapping for him for absolutism, but the fact remains that at that point in time, EFCC was a very effective agency. And, subsequently, they started putting politics into it. It still did not affect anything about the act. Then, of recent, you will see that this present man that is there is also full of enthusiasm, like Nuhu Ribadu. This is a man that worked hand in hand with EFCC to even jail his own in-law. He has a very good reputation in terms of fighting corruption. So it's not that we don't have competent hands, but the problem has always been our leaders. Like I've always stated that in all the third world countries, politics is seen as the biggest business. And that is why, as stated by the first speaker, people will get elected and you see people celebrating it. This is an albatross. When you are elected, you don't celebrate it. It's after you must have finished your tenure and we will see that you have cleared what you are supposed to clear, that we can say, oh, you have done well, or you have not done well. But in this place, family will surround you, friends that you have not seen for years will come around and say, oh, good luck to you, you have made it, So these people were, and before they get to these positions, do also not blame them too much. They spend stupendous money, and they have to recoup. They see it as business. So they will do everything possible to frustrate, all the organs of anti-graft agencies. So this has always been the problem. It's not about the enthusiasm of those that should do the work. It is not about the law. It's about those that will make the country work or grant the country. And the option they have is to make sure that they do not allow all these anti-graft agencies to work. That's why we have been having issues in terms of fighting corruption.
All right, now seeing everything you have said so far, would you now say that it's actually a waste of time for us to keep talking about us fighting corruption? Should we just let go?
Well, I think, you see, I belong to a union, and of recent, we have taken it upon ourselves to sanitize the university system. I belong to a union, and of recent, the experience that we have in the recent history is not very palatable. And obviously, the problem is the fact that the system is not encouraging fight against corruption. And, you know, we tend to blame the followership. We tend to blame the generality of the people. What we were taught early is about the fact that there is what we call charismatic leadership. There is a lot that is required from the leadership if you want to change things. But you see, they are not offering the best of leadership. They are not offering us the best of opportunity to help to fight corruption. And now corruption is so endemic to the extent that it is eating, you know, very deep to all the fiber of the society. Everywhere you go today, like a particular business outfit, everywhere you go today in this country, it's about corruption. Something happens sometimes, and you know, a younger brother was telling me that, oh, how will you do such a thing and nothing? You know, people see it as the norm today. So I cannot say that we are going to bury it, but the fact, if we are going to be straight, if we are not going to be hurt by the truth, the fact is that if we continue like this, Nigeria is doomed. There is nothing on ground to show that we can really fight this corruption, because who is fighting who? Let us come open and say it. You go on the road, you see people putting on police uniform, you understand, collecting money from motorists. You go to the university, you read almost every day, lecturers collecting money from students to give them mark. You read also that even the non-teaching, they also involved in those things. You go into a banking industry, you collect money from the bank wants to use the system to defraud you. We have issue with a particular bank today. We have written to so many agencies, facts and figures, nobody's helping. It's like the way we are doing it, everything just resort to the fact that it seems we cannot fight this corruption. But do we let go? I will not subscribe to that, because we do not have any other place to go. It's embarrassing. Internationally, when you go out, people say an average Nigerian as corrupt. Are we going to continue like that? It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. And we need to wake up. And if you're going to wake up, it's not going to start only from, don't let anybody push it to the followership. We need a charismatic leader that possesses the zeal, the energy. The laws are on ground already. We cannot say that we do not have enough law, enough agencies, to fight this thing. But we need an altruistic, kind of leadership. A National Assembly that will work hand in hand with the executive, the judiciary that will work hand in hand with the other organs of the government, so that we achieve results. This is killing. We are not happy. Why is Nigeria where we are today? Is it not because of corruption? We cannot say let's go. People are just dying. You go to the hospital. In fact, many people don't patronize the hospitals. They are sick just to buy medications of about 500 naira. They cannot afford, and they will turn it to a spiritual thing. A friend was telling me something. Sometimes they had to tell me, look, this thing is not spiritual. Go to the hospital. I knew why he was reluctant. Eventually, we pushed him there, and we realized that there was no spiritual thing about it. It was simply medical. So, these are the challenges. We cannot say let's go. But the fact remains that if anything is going to change, we all need to work together. But there has to be a time that the leadership of this country will be in the hands of those that are altruistic and, will face the assignment given to them. But presently what we have is politics that is business-oriented. As long as it remains like this, nothing is going to happen.
Akiremi, thank you for your contributions. We'll come back to you. Just stand by. Back to Mr. Omolayo in the studios. Of course, you heard what Barrister Akiremi said then. Yeah. Now, how do you begin to change the mentality of an impoverished people? Because the way it looks now, everybody has activated what is called survival mode. And nobody really cares to that, deepest core about what the government is really doing. How do you even begin to change all of that?
Because we are all blind. We are blind. They blind us. There's darkness everywhere. How do you tell the Okada man to stop walking on the road? How do you stop the Okada man to start buying that express? When he wakes up in the morning, he gets to know that as an artisan, a furniture, there's no light to operate with. That is the beginning. That is the beginning. Because an hungry man is an angry man. And an angry man can misbehave. This song by one of these Fuji stars, he said, what's his name? Pasuma. In Yoruba language, he said, Gbogbo lagomole, owo ni o ti si lowo onitong. Meaning that when you see a gangster, it's because there's nothing.
There's nothing else
to hold on to. So the next thing, let's scatter it. And by scattering, you steal, you maim, you break the law. Can Nigerians be rebuilt by giving us light? And let's start something. Because the corruption vibe is going through this trend. When there is no light in the night, you will wound yourself. If there is no candle light, you will, from your bed, you think you are going to your toilet, you find yourself in the kitchen, and as you are getting to the kitchen, you break your plate. While you are turning back, if you are staying in one room or two rooms, you think, oh, this is kitchen, let me go back to the toilet. You might hit your son that is lying down on the floor. We're in a confused state. If you cannot give Nigerians light, speak all the grammar of this word. How many people are watching this program? This program is just being run because it's compelled. And that's why you are not making money. Because how many people are watching? So if they cannot watch, how will they come and place adverts? The only corruption we need to fight first in this country is to give Nigeria light. That is why that lecturer will go and print something and call it handout and give it to that student that has no light to study. How you get laptop? How are you going to charge the laptop? It's so embarrassing now that charging on phone is not a business, 15 naira per charge. Can you imagine that? Even God, I keep telling Nigerians, before God can do anything, before God can come up with the 10 commandments, the first thing God did was to say, let there be light. You want to investigate fingerprint, thumbprint, leg print, which power are you going to use? All as security agent, in fact, I can celebrate it to you that even where the light is coming from, they are using generator to POS.
Wow, it's a whole lot. Okay, we're going to Abuja now. Let's go and take contributions from Abuja. We have on standby in Abuja studios the Executive Director for Center for Corrupt Practices, CACOR, Mr. Simeon Uwalaka Charles. Good morning, Mr. Charles. Thank you for joining us from Abuja. As you are aware, we're discussing the fight against corruption, EFCC, and other matters arising. Now, we've been talking about, the fight against corruption thus far. Let's take a look once again at the EFCC again, especially the federal government's insistence on Magu. Even though the senator several times rejected that same person, they have said they will stick with that person. Now, let's take it from your perspective. What you think about the federal government insisting on one person? Are we trying to say that we cannot find somebody else? I'm asking, who can as well, head the anti-graft agency, EFCC, in Nigeria?
Okay.
Can Abuja hear us? Okay. All right, we'll come back when Abuja is ready. Come back. Let's throw that question back to Mr. Omolayo. Let's talk about Magu for a bit, the man Magu, and the federal government's insistence, on him as a choice.
See, have we started politicking? No. I once said it in the media when they first started. I told them, I said, listen, immediately the Senate president emerges, the executive ought to know that the game has started. And they are the ruling party. No matter what, they must come together. They ought to have built places amongst themselves. That look, you are from the other side, we are on this side, but together we are here. What can we do? Let's discuss APC. Let us discuss Nigeria. These two would have been a channel to use. But when you begin to fight, when you begin to bring up ego, you're going to have a problem.
Sure.
Forgetting the fact that Saraki is a full-time governor. He has become an empire in his own domain.
Yeah.
He has also succeeded in becoming a senator for 4 years. Going for the second time, he has his own men already. And you call these guys, these are in quote of our own Nigerian understanding, conservative, who end up becoming a progressive. When they were coming, I suspected that statement where it was stated that these are the, what do you call their name? Born again Democrat. I laugh. How can you call a carpenter a medical doctor? Because he's also putting on, what is that?
A lab coat.
Can you imagine? You ought to have understand the synergy that brought you guys together. That you wanted to fight a cause and you want to push some people away. That was the greatest mistake. And the power show has come to the open. I can tell you for free. I believe that the problem with the Senate is not Magu as Magu in person.
Okay.
And the problem now with the executive is not Magu as a person. It's the ego that has been put in place. And nobody wants to die for Nigeria. The executive wants to prove a point, and the legislature too want to prove a point. Here we are.
Wow. An unfortunate situation. All right, we're going to take a break to allow us to take this report. Experts speak on the urgent need to eradicate corruption in Nigeria. When we come back, we'll be going straight to Abuja to take their own contributions from that end. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's still Galaxy today, and we're still looking at EFCC fight against corruption and matters arising. We're taking it now to Abuja, where we have on standby the Executive Director, Center for Advocacy Against Corrupt Practices, CACOR, Mr. Simeon Uwalaka Charles. Good morning, Mr. Charles. Thank you for joining us on the program. Now, I know you're aware we're discussing the EFCC and the fight against corruption, and already both our guests from here in Lagos and Ibadan have spoken extensively about how dim the future looks really, especially in this current fight against corruption. Do you also think that all of the efforts the governments are putting in, will really not amount to so much unless something drastic in terms of change of orientation of the entire populace of Nigeria, as well as change of mentality, amongst other things, first of all, takes place? What's your view?
My view is that fighting corruption does not give immediate results. It is not automatic. It's a gradual process that goes along with orientation. It actually has to do not just with government, but with the entire citizenry.
All right, I think Abuja is experiencing some network issues. We'll come back to Abuja as soon as they get back online. All right, Mr. Omolayo. Yeah, before now we're talking about Magu and the federal government's insistence on him. Now, another issue that broke out, I think last week, was the a motion that was moved, on the floor of the Senate about removing a part of the EFCC to become a standalone agency. I think the financial investigative arm of the EFCC. Now, tell us really, if this is achieved, what will be the implication really for the EFCC and also for this fight against corruption?
Whatever anybody is doing, I believe that everybody will work based on the understanding they have at that point in time, knowing fully well that they cannot be there forever. Whoever brings in the motion must have a genuine reason, either of self, might be for the general team of the nation. I'm not so concerned about any laws that you put in place. The implementation is what matters, because after 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years, another group of person will be there. So it is not about the institution, it's about the people manning the institution. We are in a nation where a good person chooses not to belong to any of these two parties and goes to the other party. You will hear, what did that guy go do for that party, sir? It is a good win. You know if he win now. Which means we have also zeroed our mind to a group of persons because of their financial strength.
That's true.
And because of their power influence. That is what is wrong with Nigeria. If you study the election of America some days back, when Trump was coming up, you can be told that almost 85% of those who are watching him never knew that he could even win the primary.
Sure.
Because a lot of Americans that I know, some of them, when I hear them talk, I tell them, but 2014, when I saw him on air via this campaign program, I told a friend, I said, he's going to be the next president of America. He said, Sola, you have started the game. I said, you won't understand the game. This guy is smart. He has started it, like 2014. They say, I said, you know what I love about myself? I like telling you things you don't believe, don't take it. So that when it happens, you will come to remember. And when it started, and when the deal was done, some of them called me and said, your president don't win. I said, which one is my own? I'm not in that stage. You guys said, I don't understand the American politics. I only know few of Nigerian politics. I said, no problem. The game is the same thing. The ball is the same. It is a player that you need to check. Nigerians, do we really understand what it means to have a leader? This is a nation where they are telling our generation, thank God, with God on my side, I think I was able to survive it a little bit. But you know the numbers of my generation that has been wasted by wrong policies.
All right, just hold the thoughts there. Let's go back to Abuja. I think they're back. Welcome back, Mr. Charles. We had some network issues. Please continue. You were talking to us about the EFCC and corruption. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I was saying that it's a process. The initial thing has been done, having an institution.
All right, I don't know what's going on with Abuja this morning. We're just having some network issues. All right, let's continue, Mr.
Okay,
Omolayo.
so a generation has almost been wasted.
Wasted, yeah.
Anybody born, if you know you are between 35 and 55 or 50, your life is in the hand of God. And that is a fact. The ones, when you see those who are celebrating now, discussing the good old days, which is not too good to me anyway. The good old days, when one man will have one television in the whole street, that's what they call the good old days. So these same people, they think we should go back to that age where in a whole community, one man will be having a Mercedes Benz, and the Oba of his town, we want to give him a title. That is the good old days, oh, and they are bringing us, they don't want to move on. And who are these guys? Check their age. They are the guys between this 55, 60, 60 something who enjoyed the free Nigeria, who depend on the scholarship at that time, who depend on free taxation to run life, who similarly have this prepaid meter we are begging them, they didn't give us. They used to put kobo inside that prepaid before they change it. These are the people that we are having problem with. These are the ones who never want us to grow. Let me tell you this. When the banks were being run by these old men, when they started clocking 55, 60, 50, they retired. They own the bank, but they retire and hand over these banks to their own children of 25, 30. But they choose not to retire. In the business of Nigeria, they had us and even beginning to prepare their children again to take over the institution business of Nigeria. That is the corruption. The problem is not Mago. The problem is not EFCC. The problem is not even the security agent. It is the people that controls it who never want to retire. They have their companies in Nigeria. They have their companies outside Nigeria. They celebrated their retirement in those businesses. But again, they refuse to retire from the business of state in Nigeria. They were lawyers at a time. They were judges at a time. They were military men. They went on voluntary retirement. But today, they refuse to retire. They will tell that guy who is 35, they will tell him, that guy who is 40, that you are too young to become a governor of a state. They will tell that guy of 25, they say you are too young to be a local government chairman. When General Yakubu Gowon came into power, he was 26, 27. David Mark, as a governor, was 27. And these people told my generation that we are too young. And I can assure you for free, real tears is rolling out of my eyes because I have a generation who cannot even be too sure paying their children's school fees anymore. They turned my generation. They turned us to become drug addicts. A man of 40, 45 is not even confident to get married. Our young girls have become prostitutes. And you are telling me the problem is Magu or EFCC? Don't we have more problems? Our young ones cannot even feed. You see a young, beautiful lady crying to eat after he has gotten his 4th degree, and we are in this country, and you now see people praying, going to church at the age of 30, 35, praying to get married. What kind of a thing is that? We are confused. We go to church, we go to mosque. We don't even know what to do again. Is God tired? No. We are the ones that is the problem. Now we need another generation to take over. Because some of us is getting tired. They are weakening us. You say anything, they arrest you. You say anything, they humiliate you. You say anything, they victimize you. You say anything, you end up dying.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Omolayo. Let's go back to our, Ibadan, where we have Barrister Wale Akinremi. All right, I know you've been following the discourse both here in Lagos, and unfortunately Abuja couldn't come through for us this morning. But then in the report we took earlier, one of the experts that spoke on the urgent need to eradicate corruption did talk about the youths. You know, what are the things or the steps that we should begin to take as a country really to dissuade the minds of the youth so that they don't begin to also toe the line of corruption and illegality?
Thank you. As I've stated before, corruption is seriously endemic in this country. The question is, where are the youths? The youths that we are saying should take over this space. We work in an environment, because like I do tell people, you cannot tell me to be a youth leader of any organization presently. I'm in my mid-40s, and I think for anybody to be called a youth leader, it has to be such a person that we are hoping to groom, allowed to grow into leadership. So if I'm still a youth leader today, when am I going to grow myself? So I am saying, when we are saying youth, we are talking about from 18, If we are going to use NYC Act, we will say 30. But let us push it a little bit further to say, okay, 35. Where are they? Where are they? Go to the universities. Go and check the union leaders. You understand? Nationally, where is Nance today? When we were growing up, when Nance sneezes, government will catch cold. Where are they today? Majority of them, they use the platform to patronize politicians. It's open to us. It's what we know. You understand? Go to the earnest gathering, whether in the community or wherever. When you see youth gathered together, it's about what do we get? What do we make? They are the same people clapping for these people that are saying, I've destroyed this country. It's our youths. They cannot do it alone. And, funny enough, their children are not even in this country. Those that are pillaging this country. So the youths that our parents are suffering out there selling wares and all that at Oje Market, Bere and all that. They are still the people that are not willing to sit down, and they are even lazy. They want quick money. I was saying something the other time there was something that I did, and a younger brother, like a son to me, was telling me that, are you telling me that you did such a thing and you did not make money? The only thing he didn't say directly was to call me a fool. You people who just want to make money, they want to ride the best of cars. All these Yahoo Plus, are these the youth that you're talking about? Those that are engaged in Yahoo Plus at age 18, 19, 20, 21, they are the people that you are hoping are going to do anything. I'm not saying we are hopeless, but it's almost that we are hopeless. I would not say that our leaders are irresponsible, but I would say that they have offered us irresponsible leadership. The way we are, Nigeria is in disarray. Go to any sector of this country. Is it the church? Is it the mosque? Is it the university? University where we should have the best of hands. If you raise a voice today, you will be victimized, will be dealt with. And where are the youths that will also rally around you to say that if you deal with him, all of us are going to fight this cause? Before you know it, parents will be calling their own kids. I did not send you to school to go and do that. Even as a union leader, leading mature people, when we say let us venture out to do this thing, I will begin to receive messages. It's as if one is a kind of another spirit. You begin to ask yourself, am I not human like these people? So when you look at it, it's like that thing has permeated all the fiber of this country. And I do not know if something is going to do a surgical operation on all of us. But the truth of the matter is that, presently, corruption is the in thing in this country. Go to any sector. Even me that I'm talking to you now, how much of me do you know? And that's another challenge we have in this country. We do not have records. Okay, I am a civil servant. How much do they pay me? What kind of a car do I ride? What kind of a family do I maintain? What kind of, how much do I pay as school fees for my kids? All those data, we do not have those things. So nobody answers any questions. Nobody even asks you. It's a country where a friend that is so poor today comes home tomorrow with a car of about 10 million naira, and I put it to him that, how come about this car? People will say, see him. He does not want his friend to grow. This is a country where Ashiri Mambo, you understand? Somebody will want to do an event, he doesn't have money, and people will tell him, Ashiri Kilombo. What is going to happen? It's corruption. So all those little things, it's in thing. We do not have record to check anything. We don't have record to check our leaders. We don't have record to check the followers. So where does the youth come into this? The youths themselves, they are the epitome of corruption. They are the people that did Yahoo. You understand? They call what they are doing now is Yahoo Plus. Kids, you see kids, 21, 22, engaging in kidnapping, killing, butchering people to make juju for money. What are they going to use? So these are the people that we are seeing. And they also have their godfathers in politics, in the military, in the police, in business sector, and all that. So go to any sector of this country today. It is almost hopeless. If anybody says he has an idea, I do not know where such an idea is coming. Are you going to gather all Nigerians together and extract our blood and our brain and put something else into it?
Everything you have said is on point. Thank you so much for your contributions, but unfortunately, that is as much as we can take. Thank you so much. That's been Barrister Wale Akiremi. He's Chairman, Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, at the University of Ibadan. Now, Mr. Omolayo, our time is up. In 1 minute, quickly, last words, so we can go.
I wish we have lights in this country so that people can watch programs on how we can begin to channel a new Nigeria.
Yeah.
But you'll be so shocked that the houses, offices that are watching Galaxy today will be under 30%. Why? Because they don't have power. And the corruption will continue. Do you know why? That guy wants to put on a generator in the night. So from the gatesman to the dry cleaning guy wants a tip to balance, to augment. But the government, people talk of young guys, Yahoo boys. They have always been there. Young guys have, it is the young guys that enjoy life. The likes of Sonny Ade got his Mercedes-Benz at the year of 22, 24. So there's nothing all these young guys are doing now that is a big deal. I started spending money, my own money, at the age of 2021, because I used to sell meat pie at Ikeja, somewhere here. I sell meat pie there. I carried the bicycle from Ogba, Ijayi. I would ride it at times. Council pursue us. They've always been pursuing us, all these council guys. These are guys that, me, I'm hustling. They are pursuing me. You understand me? So, one leader, that leader, either from Ikeja local government to change the psyche of those who are, see, get to a checkpoint. They are willing to arrest you. That is corruption. Instead of the traffic officer to say, wait, let that motor pass. They are watching. Just cross that line. You're under arrest. That is corruption. The issue goes beyond Magu.
Okay.
Let us begin to corrupt. If the last man is coming, instead of him to say, at Ikeja, they are hiding. Instead of them to come out and say, young man, that passes along that local government. Their guy is hearing me now. Along that, they will hide. Once you just pass, you're under arrest. Is our problem under arrest? Can't we just correct and begin to tow at that line? I am always afraid coming to this Ikeja. Omolayo way, Allen Junction. The only time I enjoy that place is when the light is not working. Once the light is working, they will arrest you. Right, they are not to correct you. That's my problem.
Our time is seriously up. Thank you so very much, Mr. Sola Omolayo. Thank you so much. He is a social commentator. Thank you for your contributions on the show. Also, many thanks to Mr. Simeon Walaka Charles. We apologize that we weren't able to hook up with you due to network issues. Thank you for watching the show today. Remember to keep the conversation going on all of our social media portals. And tomorrow at 10, join us as we'll be discussing health. Plus, we'll be bringing you our Indomie Viewers' Choice promo. So don't miss tomorrow's edition. Have yourself a good day.